We have Henry Ogunjimi, who is live on phone. Henry, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us again. You've been keeping tab on this particular issue, covering Ogun State. Are you still there in Ogun State?
Yes, Sulai, good morning.
It's still morning. Well, it's sunny here. Go ahead, Henry. Tell us exactly what's happening.
Well, last night, the result of the presidential election in Ogun State actually came in, and that result was declared at the INEC office in Abeokuta here. The final result, the APC candidate, that's General Muhammadu Buhari, won in 13 local government areas of Ogun State, while party candidate, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, won in 7 local government areas of the state. The Presidential Election Coalition Officer for Ogun State, Professor Duro Oni, announced that the APC scored 308,290 votes, while the PDP polled 207,950 votes. And that's about that for the results of the presidential election. For the senatorial elections, the results were being collected at different senatorial levels. That's the 3 senatorial districts of the state. Also, a number of reactions are pouring in. Parties are meeting to react to the results of the election so far in Ogun State.
And you say this is from the resident electoral commissioner at the coalition center in Ogun State.
Yes, that's the Presidential Election Coalition Officer.
Okay, and we'd like to thank you so very much, Henry. We'll get back to you pretty much later, and we'll appreciate if our producers can take us back to the issue we're discussing. We did say we're looking at this election for so many Nigerians, especially the elderly. They took part with all form of seriousness, irrespective of how feeble they may look. They say what they're doing is to, well, cause some kind of effect for generations yet unborn.
Is in Koshofe local government area under the Lagos East Senatorial District. The people here say there was actually no voting in any part of the area on March 28th in about 59 polling centers.
That yesterday, we were told that they left the casting paper at home, and it's not supposed to be like that.
Another story came up, and that was the story of the issue of card readers. And the card readers were not functioning. They were not functional, so they had to take them back to reactivate them.
It's another day and another chance to cast their ballots, and the people are determined to make the best of the situation. Despite the scorching sun, most of them have their umbrellas and, of course, taking some water to quench their thirst.
We've not seen this turnout ever since we've been conducted election in Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, and it's been peaceful all around.
The card readers are now working in most areas, including Awolowo, Miyaki, Kpako-Ekore, Beluola, Olojojo, and a host of others. But at Olorunfumi Street, accreditation was done manually. Against all odds, it's time to vote.
At last, we are able to exercise our civic responsibility to the nation.
So what do you think of the card reader?
They should give it a chance. But I was disappointed yesterday. It happened to so many people. But there were people that they went through. So meaning that it perfectly worked with some people, it did not perfectly work with some people. So for that trial, improvement will, I think when they do it again and again, it will give a good result.
And so voting finally took place in most of the polling centers in the Oworoshoki. Security operatives were on hand to ensure the maintenance of law and order. One thing that stood out during the voting process in the Oworoshoki is the involvement of not just the young people, but the older generations who seem to believe, just like 88-year-old Pa Isaac Obanlewo, that this process is one that can deepen Nigeria's democracy.
I thank God that I'm still alive to witness this very important election, which I'm sure will be the best for the survival of our children.
Yomi Otaigbe, reporting for Channels Television News.
Well, great hope there from the octogenarian that we mustn't disappoint. Well, Dr. Abiola, I think those words stuck with me all through the night when I saw that on the news at 10 last night. Children's children. He's not even thinking about now. He's got the generations of Nigerians yet unborn in mind.
Let me share a joke here. I read somewhere of a gentleman who walked into a restaurant to have a meal. And they told him, eat anything you want and your grandchildren will pay. So he had a nice meal, took the choicest wine bottles, and he even ordered takeaway. And when he was about to leave, the waiter gave him a bill. And he said, but you said no bills, my grandchildren will pay. And he said, no, that's your grandfather's bill. You get it? Okay. That's what we're doing right now. And I am so happy the octogenarian said something about our grandchildren. So we may pay our grandfather's bills today, but let's ensure they don't pay any bills when they come.
I thought you were on a course before we went on that.
I was so moved looking at that and looking at the passion with which he spoke, and also looking at those people that we also met, the aged, coming out despite the rain, despite the sun, shows to a large extent their commitment to Nigeria. And looking at also the challenged people, I think something changed between 2011 and 2015. There were a lot of discussion around how do we ensure that we broaden the space to allow for people with disability, vulnerable groups, pregnant women to be able to participate actively in the election process. And if you notice, some of the posters that INEC is using for voter education, they had an inscription there saying that you cannot stop a person with disability from voting, then that we should give them a separate line, should ensure that if there's a long queue, you allow the pregnant woman to come first. So, and I think that it's a different narrative from where we were coming from, where people don't want to go to the polls because they are challenged, because they would probably have to stay there for a long time. But the fact that they have created another opportunity for them to, and it's also good enough that, yes, INEC put that down, but Nigerian people also saw that as necessary. And you would just be very moved the way people were being assisted. Even if you come in and you are challenged, they will tell you you need to go, you have to go through the priority road to be able to get your vote done. I think that for the first time, I think INEC also did a lot by going into the communities, working with non-state actors to go into the communities to do that voter education for people to understand that it's important for them to vote, and also that it's also important for them to also to protect the mandate of their election. I think that in a way changed the narrative of the election. And I am also aware that there were also discussions around, particularly for people who are physically impaired, the blind people, the need for discussion around Braille so that they can also participate in the electoral process. And that's why I think that looking forward for us as Nigerians, I say need for INEC to look beyond 2015 to 2019 to see what other different things would come up to further make our democracy much more strong.
As we talk about